Hi guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're making mazondo, aka cow heels or cow feet with curry cabbage and salsa. Please follow, like and subscribe and enjoy the video as I show you how we make it in Zimbabwe. Ideally you want to have your mazondo or cow heels already defrosted, and then you can wash them properly in a lot of running water with some lemon. Make sure you've got lots of running water because they do need a good clean. At this point, I like to go in with a sharp knife and just scrape off all the extra little hairs that may have been left on the skin of your cow heels. I also like to use a lemon. I put in a teaspoon of vinegar in my water as well, just to wash and disinfect the heels before I pop them in the pot. Make sure you clean them thoroughly and run them through some water before you put them in the pot. At this point, you want to light your stove, put your mazondo in your pot, place it on the stove, and then add some boiling hot water. This is going to help you so much because they do take really long to cook. So you cut out a lot of your cooking time when you put boiling hot water. Next, I like to throw in, just get one onion, cut it into 4 big pieces and throw it in there. My mom taught me that apparently this makes it smell a little bit better because they do smell a bit funky during the cooking process. I guess that's part of the flavor. Before the next step, you want to give your sink a really good disinfect. I go in with my handy dandy kitchen clean and just scrub and clean the kitchen sink that I cleaned my meat in, because obviously we know meat has a bit of bacteria and whatever in it, and people get a bit iffy about the fact that I clean my meat directly in the sink. But seeing as I'm going to clean the sink after I've cleaned the meat, I feel like there's no problem. So I go ahead and give it a good scrub, a good clean, run some water through it, and then we can move on to the next step, which is washing our vegetables. I'm going to go ahead and wash my tomatoes, go and wash my green pepper, go and wash my onions, make sure they're really clean, and also just clean up my cabbage. Okay, seeing as I only have one hand and I don't have a tripod, I couldn't film myself chopping my vegetables. Basically what I've done is chop my onions, green peppers, tomatoes, and cabbage. And you notice that my onions are in different shapes and forms. The strips are for my cabbage curry, and then the diced ones are for my meat. I also lay out all my spices for the meat and the cabbage curry, and all my condiments, my salt, my oil, everything that I'm going to use going forward. An hour on, I just have a quick look at my meat, which is still very far from being done. Give it a quick turn so it doesn't stick or burn, and then just cover it back up because it's going to be a while. While we wait for our mazondo to boil through and soften, we go ahead and start on our cabbage curry. You're going to add a bit of canola oil into your pan, add your onions, add your minced garlic and ginger. You want to add mixed herbs as well. We're just going to layer that flavor in there. We also want to put in a bit of curry powder. Of course, we need the curry powder. I mean, it is a cabbage curry. How is it curry without your curry spices? You understand? And then you just want to stir this around to let the curry fry up, let the garlic fry up. I find that the taste of garlic and curry is so much more pronounced if you fry it up first. After that, you also want to add chicken spice. I know, I like the way chicken spice tastes in a curry. That's my own little touch, but you can choose to leave that out if you're not a big fan of chicken spice. Mix it up a little bit as well, and then toss in your diced tomatoes. You only want about half a tomato because you're gonna have a lot of tomato in the gravy for your mazondo. So in your curry, you want half a tomato, maybe one small tomato, just to lift that flavor a little bit. Once your onions, tomatoes, and spices have cooked through, you then want to add in your green bell pepper and your cabbage, and then toss that around a little bit, cover it for 5 to 10 minutes, let it do its thing, let it wilt down, let it cook through, and then add a little bit of salt as always, just to build on the flavor and make sure everything is tasting. Okay, next up we start making the soup base for our mazondo. You're going to add some oil into a pan, fry up your diced onions and green bell peppers, fry them up real nice, soften them up, and then you want to add your diced tomatoes. Now for me at this point, because my tomatoes were a bit on the firm side, I had to cook them through for a while so they could break down. So just stir them around, cook them through, let them break down, because you don't want chunky bits of tomato in your gravy. Okay? Okay, now we want to add our half-cooked Mazondo or beef feet into our soup base, which is our tomato and onion. I've added a little bit of salt because I add salt as I go so that, the flavor builds up. I added a little bit of salt. I put my Mazondo in my pot, one at a time. I'm that person. Stir them around and mix things together and just make sure that, everything is covered in the soup base. Then the next step is to mix your soup powders. Like for me, with things like Mazondo, I like them to be very basic. I want just the flavor of cow feet. I don't want to go too extra with like extra spices or anything. So I tend to just build my flavor in my soup base more than anything. I have beef stock from when I boiled my Mazondo before in a pot. I'm just going to add my Royce chili beef and some brown onion soup, some bistro gravy powder. That's right, is it really a Zim home if there's no bistro? That's right, a bit of bistro. And then I also add some minestrone soup. This is optional, but I just feel like the combination of flavors from all these three soup bases is so amazing, and yet it doesn't overpower the taste of your cow feet. So I just mix that all together with my beef stock. Make sure it's all mixed in nicely, you don't want random lumps. And then pour it in your Mazondo. Pour all that good yumminess into your Mazondo and mix it together nicely again. You might want to add a bit of salt at this point, just a little bit, because these gravy powders also do have a bit of salt in them. Add a bit of salt, cover up your pot, and let it cook again. Alright, so here you can see our cabbage is cooking away. Our Mazondo are properly on the boil. Like, let them boil. You need to let these boil like a good 2 hours so they really soften. But we move. At this point, I'm bored waiting for my Mazondo, so I start cleaning up a little bit. You got to keep a clean kitchen while you cook. That's the easiest way for you to enjoy your food when you're done. You get to just sit down and eat. I decided I wanted to have a glass of wine and a bit of chocolate while I waited, but also the wine has a purpose in this whole cooking video. Yes, it does. I find that wine gives these slow cooking meats a bit of depth of flavor, so I did put half a bottle of just a basic Merlot, nothing expensive, just a cheap Merlot. You put about 2 glasses, that's half a bottle of wine in there. Really picks up the flavor, really builds the flavor, gives you that extra zhuzh, And also, mommy needs a drink and some chocolate. Like, I'm putting in so much work here. I deserve a treat at this point. So here we are, just pouring a glass of wine, and you'll see just now that even the color of my beef bones has changed. It's gone deeper and darker just because of that extra boost from the red wine. Trust me on this tip, the red wine will lift your Mazondo from like basic B stuff to a really, really good, hearty, delicious mix of yumminess. Man, you don't understand. Try it. Don't knock it till you try it. Obviously, we're going to have this with some salsa, the standard super maize meal, whatever. This just proved that I did cook the salsa. Yes, it was me who made the salsa. For those of you who say I can't cook salsa, there you go. The proof is in the pudding. And I guess that's it. The light had gone at this point. It was dark by the time I finished, so you can't really see. But there we have the finished product, our nice, soft, lush, deep, velvety Mazondo, our curry cabbage, yum, and our nice, hot, thin salsa. I like my salsa nice and soft, nice and thin. None of this salsa birida up in here. And this is the final plate, the final look. It was so good. It was so yum. I hope you like this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I could maybe try and do this again because it was fun. It was a lot of work, but it was fun.